so here's another one, and these are all financial problems, not spending quality time, which is the first one. The third one is unrealistic expectations, and I think one of the ones where that shows up the most is, working couple, two people working really hard. Could be that the man or the woman, but in a lot of scenarios I've heard it's a woman who feels like they're doing a lot of the domestic work, and then the guy is a slob. This is what I hear all the time amongst my lady friends. So this is the next scenario that we're going to play out. Okay.
Good.
And now I'm going to be aggressive, not passive aggressive.
Okay, and I'm going to be the typical man who's not listening or doing anything effectively.
Yeah. So I'm so stressed out. I just actually dropped off the kids. I was in carpool for like 4 hours. 4 hours. I mean, it was awful. And I've done carpool. I've been picking up the kids. Like, we said we were going to split it, but in this week I actually did like 3 days where I was doing carpool. And I think we had said that you were going to do a couple days, and you've done nothing this whole week.
Well, you need to schedule yourself better. You're doing your schedule all wrong.
Oh, you're saying it's my fault?
Yeah, I mean, I got to work for a living. And
well, I work for a living too. I had to cancel all these meetings to make that happen. Why are your meetings more important and your life better than mine?
Well, right now I'm making more money than you, and your job, as we agreed, is that you would deal with the kids. I can't help it if you're not scheduling right. So let's fix the problem. You got to get out a better schedule book and write things down so you're not overwhelmed. And then we don't have to deal with these arguments.
Why is it always my fault? Like, I'm not a better schedule. I'm like 500 times better than you. You're the worst in terms of organization. So you like telling me that I can't organize is just absurd. I'm not even listening to this anymore.
Fake arguing is fun.
Guess which argument I've had with my husband.
I'm guessing. I have no idea. You did seem like it had a certain momentum to it.
Yeah, it has a ton of momentum to it. Now you have to take a drink after that.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Okay, well, let's pretend. Let's pretend.
Okay, now I'm going to do two things. I'm going to acknowledge your reality, your feelings, until you feel more calmed down.
Okay.
And then I'm going to transition you to finding solutions. What a lot of men do is they try to fix things right away before they validate a person's experience and feelings. Right. And that doesn't go well. That's what I was doing. And you just, it feels very invalidating.
Right.
So I'll first acknowledge your feelings, get you calmed down, and then ask you a question that transitions to how we can do things differently.
Yeah, and I think actually one of the things I like most about that, and I think it was, I heard it in a Gottman presentation, that you actually have this moment where, I can't remember what he called, but you had this like red zone. Do you remember what it's called? Where you are unreasonable. You cannot listen. I mean, try as you might, you cannot listen. I mean, at that moment, I'm raging on some personal story that I've gone through, right? I've been sitting in carpool for the last 4 hours. I'm like, just rip shit angry, right? And so for me, trying to listen or kind of like relate to you, not possible. And it's hard because I think on the guy's perspective, you hear some rip shit angry person coming at you with a knife, right? And there's just this caustic energy. So what were you doing on the inside to calm yourself down? Or how does someone calm themselves down? Because what you're saying is you listen and it ratchets it down, but is that why you ratchet it down?
Well, one of the things I've learned is I've said to myself, I have like a mantra I say. If I can help you to feel understood for 1 minute, I can avoid a 3-hour argument.
Yes. So true.
So I'll say that to myself. Jess, it only takes a minute if you're good at it. I'm going to help her feel understood for 1 minute, and then we can avoid a whole big brouhaha.
Yes, here's why I'm smiling. Because I say to my husband, all right, this can take a minute or it can take 3 hours. Yeah. Just repeat what I have to say. Repeat exactly what I'm saying to you so I know that you understand it, and we'll be done. But if you continue doing what you're doing, I can guarantee you I'm just going to get more and more pissed off. And so like I think it's like a two-way street, right? Just like how you have to say, if you can just stay calm for a minute, I will avoid a 3-hour conversation. The person on the inside has to, like, I literally have had to learn, like, I'm seriously pissed off and I know where I'm going to go if you don't. And so I'm going to give you a little, I'm going to set off the flare. I tell you, it's going to get ugly really fast if we don't just listen to each other. Okay.
So let's try the good role model.
Okay, yeah, ready?
You should still be as difficult as you were before.
Oh, well, that's easy. Okay. Oh my God, I was in carpool for 4 hours. The traffic was so bad between picking up, my youngest son at 3 and then the eldest son at 5. I was like driving back and forth between school, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I've done that 3 times this week. 3 times.
That sounds so frustrating. I mean, traffic like that just can drive you insane.
It's driven me crazy. I feel like I can't even see straight. I'm exhausted.
I can imagine. I mean, it's so hard to deal with stuff like that. And then you had the kids that you're probably dealing with too. You must be so stressed out now.
And they were hungry, and I was hungry, and then they were like all listening through their headphones, which makes me crazy.
Right. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry that you had to go through that. It must be so frustrating.
It was. I've just had the worst week.
Yeah. Well, you've been dealing with like just too much stress now, and it must be a really a burden.
It is. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. It's between the school and the driving. And I have my own things that I'm trying to accomplish, and
you got a lot on your plate, sweetie, and it's really it's really stressful. I'm wondering what might you be able to do different so that not quite so stressful, so you have a little bit of time for yourself.
Well, I just need time for myself. I mean, I need you to drive more. Honestly, like, I've been trying to drive because I know you have a big work project, but I just can't do it anymore. I know I'm trying not to add stress to you because I know you're really stressed out, but I just can't. I can't do it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I need your help driving.
You feel like you need a little bit of a break.
I need a break. I need a serious break, like just 1 week of not driving because I'm just exhausted.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's figure out a way that we can make it work, and I want to make sure that you're not so stressed out. And then, of course, I got my thing. Maybe we can get one of our friends or babysitters to carpool or something so that we can both have less days that we're driving the kids.
Yeah, actually, that would be a great idea. I've been thinking about doing carpool with the Johnsons for a while, but I just have been too lazy to make it happen. But it would cut down the driving in half.
Well, tell you what, let's make some calls tonight and see if there's something we can arrange. And if for some reason we can't, I'd be willing to drive a couple days this week. I can't Thursday and Friday because, I just have to come in too early. But let's spend some time tonight and see if we can come up with a plan. Does that sound good?
Yeah, it does. I really need that because I'm just so tired. I'm so tired. Yeah.
I understand. Yeah, you've been working really hard, and I sense how frustrated you are.
Yeah. Interesting. So, yeah, you were really validating my feelings, which just ratcheted it way down, right? It's the thing that you're saying, you appreciated what I was going through, and you connected with me and said, I appreciate that. I appreciate what you're doing, and I get it. I appreciate what you're going through, and I appreciate that you're having a tough time. It completely changed the whole arc of everything. Right?
Yeah, and once you get that validation, we'll call it, or acknowledgement, then you're more willing to go into searching for things. And even when I said I was too busy and came up with a solution such as carpooling,
right,
you were willing to go with it because you had just felt like we had connected.
Right. So because we did connect, and then I felt appreciated because of that, I felt safe also. I mean, you got almost all of the crafts. What was missing? Oh, appreciation, safety, connection, and then respect. All 4. You gave me all 4 in that little dialogue. Mm-hmm. Interesting. Okay, so one of the things that you approach in your book that I think is really important, because all negotiations and contracts to have a conditional clause of what if you don't fulfill your promise. Tell us a little bit about that. Because, all these things actually have, these are all like, all these are wonderful, but what happens when,
Mm-hmm.
that guy doesn't do carpool? He said
Yeah.
he could do it on Thursday and Friday, or couldn't do, I can't remember, but, that guy doesn't do carpool and
Uh-huh.
doesn't follow through on making the calls to do carpool with other people.
Right. Well, a lot of times I get asked, I've been trying to change my partner, trying to change them, and they say they'll do something, but they don't.
Right.
So I say, well, have a conversation about what will happen if they don't. So let's say you and I have an agreement that I'll be home at 6 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not home at 6 p.m.
Right.
I never get home at 6 p.m. But in our talk, I say, oh, I'll be home by 6 p.m.
Right.
Well, what you would want to say at that point is, I really appreciate you being willing to come home at 6 p.m. and thank you for making that agreement. But I have a question. If for some reason you don't get home by 6 p.m., what should we do then?
Well, cut me some slack.
Uh-huh. So you feel like if you're not home by 6 p.m., I shouldn't worry about it. Well, what if you're not home by 6 p.m. every night, even though you've agreed that you will be? What should we do then?
Well, I can't predict traffic.
Uh-huh.
I mean,
I
sometimes
understand.
it's unpredictable. Or there's
Right.
rain. I mean, I can't predict that.
Mm-hmm. So certainly things come up, and if they come up, there's not much you can do. An accident on the way home,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
But what if that keeps on going? Let's say you're not home by 6 p.m. more than 1 or 2 nights a week. What should we do then?
It will kill me then. I mean,
I'm
seriously, why
more
does it
asking
matter?
you what you think is fair.
I don't know. I mean, what do you think is fair?
I think it's an interesting question, and it really is up to you. Because
Well, you're the one that has the issue with me being home later than 6, so
Uh-huh.
what do you want me to do? Since you're being affected, so to speak.
Uh-huh. Well, I'll put out an idea, and if you like it, then we'll do that. If you don't like it, we'll negotiate something. How's that sound?
Okay. Okay.
How about every minute past 6 p.m. that you're home, we put $1 into an account that I can use toward buying some kind of gadget that I like.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine.
So if you're home at 6:30 each night, that would be 30 times 5. It would be $150 a week.
Wait a second. I thought it was $1 each time. You're saying
No,
it's...
$1 each minute.
Oh. I mean, okay, I'll try. I mean, at least... Okay, I'm willing to try.
Because that would work for me.
Okay.
If you're home at 7 and I know that I just got $60 towards a favorite toy, I won't be upset.
Okay, let's fast forward. It's now I've come home, several different times, and now I want to renegotiate.
Okay.
Okay, so I've like, so you still have a problem, right? Because I'm like, oh, whatever. I just had all these things, and now there's like maybe $200 in your jar.
Okay.
Based on my ridiculous behavior of not being able to come home at 6. Or whatever, my behavior of not coming home for 6.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
So, honey, I hear that you want to renegotiate our agreement as to what to do if you come home late.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Okay.
I mean, how much do you have in that jar?
A couple $100 now.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I don't want to do this
okay.
anymore.
I'm open to renegotiating. And so what do you think would be a compromise that might work better for both of us?
Maybe just not do this anymore.
Uh-huh. Well, my question was, what do you think might work better for both of us? And it's really important. Now, this is working for me, but it's not working for you. And I really want to make sure it works for you too. But it has to work for both of us. So I'm wondering if you can come up with a couple ideas that might work really for both of us.
Okay. I have to think about it. But I don't know.
Okay. Now, really, a person can only answer that in 3 ways. And I
Yeah.
have a method for any of those 3 ways.
Yeah.
They either say, I don't know. That's
Yeah.
fine. Or they come up with a really bad idea.
Right.
Like, let's just forget the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah, which is what
Or
I
they
try to do.
Or they come up with a good idea. If they come up with a good idea, you're done.
Yeah. Yeah.
If they come up with a bad idea or say, I don't know, then you can say, well, would you be willing to hear a couple ideas I have that might work for both of us?
Right. Right.
then they're receptive to that negotiation again.
Yeah. Yeah. Excellent. So this has been great. I just want to get a sense from you when people do this. Like you said, the interesting thing about that couple who had been spending 3 hours a week for I don't know how many years,
Yeah.
they pretty much stopped. What are some other results that people have had from doing this?
Well, I get letters from people who get the Communication Miracles for Couples book, and a lot of them have said they're on the verge of divorce and they were able to turn it around.
Yeah.
Because communication is the key, and when you're communicating just through blame, then you're going to have a lot of problems. But if
Right.
you can learn the language of negotiation and acknowledging people's feelings and needs,
Yeah.
then it's like a different person you're relating with.
Right. Right. Absolutely. I love it. So we've been talking to Jonathan Robinson, Communication Miracles for Couples. This really is is the guide to how to communicate, because there's so many how-tos. There are a bunch of wonderful stories that help illustrate. We just gave an example of verbal role play, but in the
Yeah.
book there's a whole bunch of other stories in here. So thank you so much. Great book. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure, CJ. I appreciate it too.
It means so much to me that you're listening to the show. I would love your support in any way by giving me comments below, or to subscribe to the show, or share the show with friends. Thank you again for your support. Love and blessings.